All right, good morning. Welcome to the
Good morning.
BlackUSA.News morning show. My name's Doni Glover, here with Marcia Jews and Kavette Minor King. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. We're great. I'm great. We're
Good
great over here.
great as well.
Everybody in the house is great.
Going well. Thank
Well,
you.
well rested.
Yes.
How was your show last night, Kavette?
The show was awesome. We had a really good discussion about obviously mindset and money. I had some amazing guests, Tanya Barbie and Ebony Byrne, and they were able to really shed some light on their personal experiences and how they're able to overcome those challenges in order to get both their mindset and their money right.
Okay. Hey,
That's
Duke,
huge.
Yo,
you have no video?
yeah.
Are we live, buddy? How are you?
How you just coming back from out of town, man? How you doing? Appreciate y'all having me on.
Good, good.
How y'all feeling?
We're doing outstanding.
I appreciate it. So what's going on, guys?
Now, we need you to keep your camera still. We're
Okay.
broadcasting all over the country.
Got you.
So tell us about DJ Duke.
Where I start?
From the beginning.
I know. Right? Grew up Pennsylvania Avenue, West Baltimore. I grew up. My father was my role model, so I grew up with a strong black man, in my corner. So I learned a lot from him, qualities, things like that. I was a basketball player. Played for St. Francis, played for Mount St. Joe. And then after about 17, I realized I wasn't making the NBA. So once I realized that,
I couldn't tell by the way you played over Druid Hill Y. You look like you on the court.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So then I started when I got into Cloverdale next. Got into Cloverdale, met with Lawrence Bell and Nick Mosby, and that's how I started my first interview with Senator Young. So I was into politics, but that wasn't for me either. It was like it's kind of like it was just too much going on with politics. So I stopped that, and I became a director at Cloverdale. So I ran that for if y'all don't know this class, it's called Cloverdale AC/BBA. It's a basketball court in Baltimore, similar to like Rucker Park in New York, something like that. So I ran that for about 4 years down there, about 4 years. Rest in peace to Mike Plater, who gave that to me. I did that, and that's when I had the idea about DJing. And I was like, hey, I'm paying this guy $200 a week to DJ. And I could just figure out how to do it myself.
Hey, Duke, it's driving me crazy. Any way you can keep your camera 100% steady?
Yeah, like I said, I just walked in my studio so I could put it down, but I was trying to talk. Yeah, I can put it. There you go. Give me 1 second. There you go. Like I'm like literally just walked in here. All right, that's better. Thank you. I just wanted to sit down. That was just crazy. So anyway, so yeah, Cloverdale. Then I met Sharon Bowles, Muzzy Bowles' sister, and she was saying, "Hey, you should come work for Baltimore City." And met with Sean Brave. And the rest was history. So I ran three rec races in Baltimore Recs and Parks. And I just became a DJ, and I never looked back. And one day I was walking into the market and I ran into Mr. Doni Glover. He said, "Hey man, I follow you. How about you come do an interview?" And I never looked back since then. Yep. Just grew from there. Next, of course, like Washington Capitals, NFL. I got NBA All-Star actually tomorrow. So I just grew. So I want to thank you, Doni, for really believing in me from the beginning too. Just wanted to say that.
Well, the object is for you to pass it on to somebody else.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So,
I'm only 5.5 years in. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's a blessing. I'm blessed. I have no complaints.
but we Black. We held to a higher standard. We got to pass the ball.
I totally agree.
So who you mentor? Who are you mentoring?
Well, actually, every day I teach DJing for Be More STEM, DJ 5-star. They might know him as Kendrick Tillman. So I'm the lead instructor for Be More STEM along with TNT and Marcus Dent. So like right now, I have a class going on right now, but I have a substitute filling in. Good morning. How you doing? Filling in for me. So I teach STEM every single day. I also have a YMCA contract for STEM. And I have a HCR manicure for the elderly. Every Friday, I teach them how to DJ as well. Every Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, were you ever tempted to run the streets?
Yeah, growing up, recipes, of course, Lord Melvin passed, Liddy Jones passed. I actually DJed his repass. So I looked up to guys like that growing up.
So for those who don't know, Marsha, do you know who Liddy Jones is? Do you know who Little Melvin is?
Okay. They like the same.
You may want to break it down for those who may not know, dude.
Okay, so well, everybody know Pennsylvania Avenue is well famous. So for a lot of good things, but as well as drugs as well. So coming from that area, I had opportunities, of course. I went to good school, but I always liked the fast money stuff. So I always idolized those guys. I never wanted to be the corner guy. I wanted to be the guy that, got the money, the girls, the traveling, stuff like that. So I looked up to them. But once I realized one day that it's either like death or jail, that's when I hustle music. And,
Right.
And that's why I teach kids. And I'm realistic. I give them passion. I tell them every day, look, it's choices. Life is about choices, right? So it's like, if you choose to do this, this is the consequence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So sometimes it's good to just work hard and struggle a little bit. So that way, when God bless you with stuff, you're already there, opposed to giving up and doing the wrong thing, trying to do the right thing. If that makes sense.
So DJ Duke, when you sit down and you're first of all, congratulations that you saw yourself being something else, right? That you had a vision for yourself, and I'm really proud of you because you had other options and you made a decision that you wanted to live differently,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's huge, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you're in these rooms, so STEM is my passion, right? So I'm like bubbling all over, and Kendrick, I know him very well.
Yeah, one of my biggest role models.
Right. And looking in what you're doing with STEM, how are you involved in STEM throughout the area or nationally? Sounds like.
Again,
What
I think
do?
it's been more relatable to the generation. And I think the way I talk, like you said, Kendrick, so he wears a suit and tie. I'm the opposite. So when I come in, so he sends me into the schools, like the Booker T. Washingtons, Douglas, I got Lake Clifton later today. He sends me in. And I just give them examples of how math, so we actually call math through music as well. So how math and music relates. So like today, the lesson today is Black Panther today. So I'm teaching kids, hey, you love Black Panther and Marvels, but pay attention to the music in the background. And you hear the tempo, which is a definition for DJing. Tempo kind of controls the speed of the music, right? So I teach them, hey, listen, you see this scene of Black Panther, their favorite scene, and they'll tell me, and I'll find out, what song is played in that scene. Now I show them, hey, listen, you see how the tempo changed from sad to fast to slow. You know what I mean? Then we just relate that to the music, and that's then we go to the science, to engineering, and things like that. So STEM has changed my life tremendously. I mean, I've been three years with DJ 5 Star, and I mean he's been nothing but a role model, nothing but.
That's powerful. And so when after you go into the school, do you have a follow-up program with them, or what is it that you want them to do? What do you want their takeaway to be?
That's a great question. That's actually what we're working on as we speak, to follow up with what they're doing. We actually started that actually with Reach Partnership, the old Lake Clifton. Like today, actually tomorrow I got Reach tomorrow. I have 17 young ladies that were in the program, but they're like 18, 19 now. So it's like, we were trying it out. We was just trying to get more resources. So the more resources we get, the more grants, the more you guys help us with media, the more things we get, we can empower ourselves to be as powerful as we already are. STEM is very powerful. Very powerful.
Donnie,
So
go ahead.
You've been up to lately?
What I've been up to lately?
Yes.
Not sleeping. I was in New Jersey last night. New Jersey, then I had to go Philly first, then New Jersey. I literally just walked in the studio, just walked in here. Radio all day tomorrow, all day Thursday. NBA All-Star weekend this weekend, of course, in Atlanta. One of my songs is on the game, NBA 2K21. Got that. Then in Denver, Colorado next Wednesday. DJing up there. After that, I got Charlotte and Detroit. So it's just a blessing. Just a blessing.
So Marsha, what I'm trying to convey is that we live in a neighborhood, as he stated, that has a lot of history and culture, i.e. Pennsylvania Avenue. At the same time, Darius, there are a lot of drugs around here: heroin, cocaine, crack cocaine. And he had a choice, as do many in this neighborhood and urban areas around the country. But he made a decision to go to the right. Easily you could be over the penitentiary right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darius, any thoughts?
Yeah, DJ Luke, good morning, brother. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? Duke with a D. But good morning. How you doing?
Man, you make me want to DJ. I'm good. I'm good.
I would love to show you one.
Now, I had a question for you.
Okay.
Now, my question I wanted to ask, like growing up on Pennsylvania Avenue, seeing everything going on, because as a youngster, I grew up in the same area down Myrtle, Lanville, right behind the Shake and Bake. I seen it and I understand the struggle. What inspired you to move away from that and do music?
I would just say my family. My family. Just wanting to be here for my family. But I took the same mentality of drugs to music. And everything I do is like a hustle. I got my own vodka. It's called Balt Vodka. That's around the country. You know, I treat that just like drugs. You know, it's just a different product. So, in some ways, I know it might sound crazy. Drugs kind of inspired me. It's kind of crazy to say that, but it gave me that hustle. If that makes sense, it gave me that hustle. It just changed the product per se. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we see that a lot of our young Black men who do get involved in that, many of them have been able to turn themselves around into business owners, and they've used the acumen, what they learned in that arena, in order to make their businesses thrive. Because running a business takes a lot of work. You know, it's not like employment where you can just go and check in the time clock and get the money. So is that something that you're sharing with your mentees?
Oh, absolutely. And I tell I have different races of students, even artists assigned to me. But as Black people, we are great on promotion. Like, we promote everything perfectly. And I tell people that no matter where you come from, we have that. So now we got to channel that into something positive or residual income, things like that. Because the number one goal in my life should be to take care of your family. That should be the number one goal. So if you hear rappers say, I want to take care of my man. No, that's the opposite. Take care of your family first. So I teach that number one with all my students. As they get older, take care of your family because nobody else will.
Absolutely.
So, Kavette, you have two sons, right?
I do.
No, I have three daughters and one son.
No, I do. I have three boys. I have two boys. My kids actually are not kids anymore. I raised men. They're 18 and 24.
my point is, they are in the same demographic, generally speaking, and they have choices. Ain't that right, Darius?
Yeah, they do. They got plenty of choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the way that we raise them, and then of course their personal acumen or their personal desires, which will lead them in whatever direction they choose to go in. From there,
we need big brothers like you, brother Luke. Brother Duke. Brother Duke. He lived like Uncle Luke. The way he DJ, you should see the way he lived. DJ Duke, it's up to you, because so many people from the city, they got their eyes on you and the kids. The same way the young people used to look up to K Swift.
Yeah,
that was a way. You could show them a better way. It's up to you, big brothers like us, to show them that it's a better way. Because if they don't see it, they won't know.
Yeah.
So, Duke, tell me a little bit about Baltimore music history that a lot of people don't know. It was a couple of years ago that Lil Scooter was killed.
Yeah, Lil Scooter was from around the neighborhood, of course. and he passed away. And the thing, the case is kind of already out there, but not to go into it. But it was something that he really wasn't a part of per se. He was just in the environment, and that's what ultimately ended his life. And he was our hope for getting out of the city. But you know what I mean. So you have him, but you got Billie Holiday. You got so many people that has created the structure for music here. You know what I mean. So that's a rapper. You got R&B artists like Paula Campbell. That I just did a show with. You got Tim Trees. It's just so many artists that came here and done well. And I think the unfortunate thing is once you get to a certain level, guys, I think you have to really separate yourself from, certain environment. And there's nothing wrong with that.
You mean you got to leave Baltimore?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I travel.
I would say it. I would say it definitely. Yeah. You got to leave Baltimore.
I can't.
Otherwise, the negative elements that you grew up with will try to keep you there.
Well, now, one thing, like I said, there's so many different contracts I got that help. You know what I mean? So I got to be careful what I say, but I will say one of my major contracts right now is with State's Attorney Mosby and Quicksilver with DTL, Radio 1, Black Dynamite Entertainment. There's so many people. So what we do is we take celebrities and up-and-coming artists, and we broadcast every Friday. It's called State's Attorney Pop-Up. And we have children talk to, like we had like Megan Thee Stallion on, we had the Baby, artists like that, and they talk to the kids, about the struggles and how you can become an entertainer and things like that.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Marsha, do you know who Megan Thee Stallion is?
Sort of.
Who is Megan Thee Stallion, Duke? For those of us who are older and
entertainer.
Entertainment. Yeah, again, I got to be careful what I say because I have issues with some of the bookings because, like, if we're telling kids one thing, but we're showing them something different just because it's hot.
Thank you for saying that.
That just don't make sense.
That's my issue.
So I have a question. If we were to sit down and we look at all of the images that hip hop has really changed from what we thought it was going to be as I watched it emerge. Mm-hmm. Okay. And in looking at, I'm a Motown girl, right? So you see the gray hair, but right. But that was a totally different era. And we saw things kind of come, some of the real slick stuff that they did with the, the crooning kind of vibe, but it wasn't so blatant. Right. Yes. It was smooth. It kind of, you got that undertone. And now when I look at gangster hip hop and all of these real hardcore, and I saw it. It happened in New York and it kicked off and it went crazy. Right. But where are the boundaries? At some point, I understand that we're supposed to have freedom, but some of the messaging, even for me, and I think I'm really open-minded for real. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, like for real, because I've seen the highs and the lows, the extremes. But at some point, how do we bring it to a level that a young person can really see themselves without making this negative transformation?
That's a great question. I would say, first off, social media has really, I think, because it's like a lot of people don't have nothing, they don't do anything. So social media, they just act like they do things or they just comment. So I think that's one of the major problems. Number two, one of the greatest moments in my life from, like I said, traveling the world Super Bowl was meeting Houdini. Rest in peace to him, he just passed away. So I had the pleasure of meeting him and actually DJing with Grandmaster D. What was that about? In October in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. The whole Crush, it was a Crush Brew anniversary. And being around them, Roxanne Shante and Lady E. I'm talking about the original people.
Right.
And 32, just the DJ with somebody like that. And the atmosphere was so much fun. The energy was fun. The music is fun. Like if you go to the club, I go to the club now, I'm DJing and the music is telling you to do something crazy. So it's like the message is bad. So yeah. I really don't know how we can change that. To the point, I don't even like DJing kid parties sometimes because every song is sexual, negative, degrading, but we tell them to go to school and do right. So it's
correct.
Like, right. It would have to start with people actually making music that has a more positive message.
Yeah.
You know, and then putting the money behind them to promote that positive message. Because right now, all we see is that people are, you know, trying to grasp that shock value. You know, they're going further and further and further away from, you know, what would be seen as maybe decency, in order to grab people's attention and to be talked about. And that's how they're making their money, you know, because people want to be entertained in that way. But as Marsha was saying, it's not a positive thing, you know, for us. And you don't even like playing the music for the kids. So do we have any positive artists today that you found, you know, someone who is actually making music with a message that can be promoted that way?
Oh, absolutely. I haven't announced this deal, but I guess I can give you exclusive here. I got a phone call the other day. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy how it happened from L.A. Reid and his son.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has a company called Hitco. So he wasn't on the call, so I didn't meet him yet, but they offered a deal. And so the deal is basically they follow me around to different cities and artists. Right now I have 32 singles on Apple iTunes and stuff like that. So they're going to follow me around, and I had to pick an artist. So it's funny you asked that. So the first artist came to mind, his name is R. Hollywood. I had 4 artists signed to me. I met artists all around the world. R. Hollywood is one of the best artists I've ever heard in my life. He sounds just like Michael Jackson. Positive, image is great. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's somebody that I will put everything into. All my artists are great too. Not saying my artists are not, but he has a very positive energy. It's like, that's the first thing. The energy, positive, the look. Now we're going to the music, you know, and you're right. We need somebody to, you know, Black people are winning to me. Because I be around a lot of millionaires. We need people to put money back into our community and show our community first that this is popular. So if Jay-Z say, hey, look, I got $10 million for a campaign, people are going to pay attention.
But you're that messenger.
Yes, ma'am.
You and Kendrick are the messengers that have your heads on straight. You have the respect for the folks that do what they do, but my position, quote unquote, your position is this is the way that we should go, because what we really need to be building are more engineers. If we're looking at, and I'm loving that you're in STEM. If we're looking, because that's my thing, right? And so if the future is STEM, the future is STEM at every level. At every level, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Okay.
If I know I've spent 25 years of my life on STEM. We'll have that conversation offline. Okay. But the reality is that if we're not showing, people don't know what they don't know. The parents don't know what they don't know. The kids don't know what they don't know. If you keep pushing something at them, that's all they know. Until we can push what we want them to know in front of them, make it so that's their go-to information booklet, information website, information whatever, that's their go-to. They go to whatever channel. They go to whatever thing, whatever. We have to make it so that STEM is so cool, is so slick. I need you all, and maybe you already know, the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference.
Okay, I heard of it. I heard of it.
All right, so you need to be involved. You're going to be involved, and so we'll get your information from. I'll get your information from Doni.
Okay.
You and Kendrick need to come up with a program that deals with STEM on a broader level, because this is an international organization that's owned by Black people. It's been in business for 35 years.
Wow.
Right? And their only mission is STEM, and making sure that children see people who look like them that are doing things in STEM. That's all this is about. It's about celebrating all these incredible people. So we're going to connect. But when you start talking about that music and the engineering about it, and all of the images that you're talking about, and all the positive things that you're talking about, you're in that sweet spot. And so now it needs to be a bigger message. And if you have those kinds of connections, That's all that messaging needs to be. How do we change our lives? The other pieces, and they were talking about in the paper today about a young man talking about how there's so many murders. And a lot of the murders are happening because some child has heard how you end a beef on a record. That's a record and it says it's okay because the child doesn't have anybody else to say, you can't listen to that gangster rap. You can't do that. So how do we then, as a community, start changing the narrative, start changing how our children see themselves, see their family, see their community, and their future? How do we deal with that, right? And, and how do you help? How do you insert into those pieces?
I think I learned this from Donnie. I call it a spade a spade. I think the problem is the people that's in positions to help that don't. For instance, if you, I know I keep saying Jay-Z, but let's take a Carmelo Anthony, somebody I know personally. He gave Cloverdale, I'm just be honest, he gave us $25,000, right, which is really nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it starts with people like that. It's fact that you gave something for your tax write-off, but you didn't really do nothing. You know what I mean? So if you, for instance, my vodka there, my business is called Balt Vodka, right? So we spend.
I gotta challenge you on that.
All right, okay. So check this out. So
well, there's a difference between.
Can I let him finish his statement? Can we please finish his statement? Because I'd like to hear the rest of what he's saying.
I can show you that, like see here the banner. We spend they spend, I don't have it, millions of dollars on promotion. So and it's a black-owned company. So we spend that type of money in showing black people, showing America the right way and the right imagery. You get what I'm saying? Then people will see it more. So we need people with the money to really invest in promotion and showing our people what's the right thing. Because if not, people are human. They go over what they know. In my opinion.
Yeah, well, people don't know what they don't know. So if you don't have the ability to see somebody or to see something changing in your face, then it's impossible. You know, the challenge is that you have a gang that is running a whole community across this country. We have gangs on top of gangs, and they're prevalent, and they're the leadership in the neighborhood. They're the leadership, and they call the shots, and they make the decisions, and they make the decisions whether you live or die. This is not a joke. This stuff is real. And so how do we create a juxtaposition to what we're dealing with? Hello, Judge.
Good morning, Judge.
Hey.
But this is serious.
Yeah, I appreciate what y'all doing with your platform that y'all have. It's amazing. Myself, I got 6 radio shows and 1 TV show actually. So it's like on all my shows, I do the same thing, try to get the message out, but we only could do so much. You know, I would Radio 1, which is of course, black owned and all that stuff, but it's like you only could do so much. Right. You know, so it's like we need our people like the Oprahs or like I said, the Jay-Z's. People that can really change their lives, to really invest, to me, in the promotion. And I think that we can really change the narrative, I think.
I have some great ideas. I can't wait to talk to you guys later.
It's going to get very deep here for a moment, Marsha.
Oh, Lord. So, wait a minute. Let me get my hip boots. Go get them. I'll get them. Go get them.
Judge, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. We just called Joey. He's running a bit behind, but we have with us today DJ Duke. He lives in my neighborhood. We live in the neighborhood where the Freddie Gray unrest happened in 2015.
Yeah.
Now, Duke, I need you to know this lady is Lady Justice.
Okay.
And she's used the justice system to help us. And she don't play. She does not play. She don't play. So anyway, I'm gonna skip around. Let me go back to Carmelo.
What?
Wait, what?
Carmelo did have the Carmelo Anthony Center in East Baltimore. You said
that was living classrooms, and they took the name off of it. Don't get me started. Don't start saying all that.
I am gonna say it. What other player in Baltimore City has built us a recreation center?
No one has. Even Carmelo.
And then maybe someone.
You may been working on a project like that.
So my point is, maybe someone should talk to Carmelo, and maybe more can be done. And to your point, though, let me reiterate. I mean, your record is what? Robert C. Marshall.
Yeah, Christmas Addicts, both between
Christmas Addicts. When were they rebuilt?
I have no idea. I'm 32, so I haven't seen.
They've never been rebuilt.
Yeah, never. And I mean, well, to be honest, I come from. Let me say this: the best recreation center in the planet is Mount Royal. So I come
you said Easterwood?
No, sir, Mount Royal. Mount Royal.
You said Easterwood?
No, Mount Royal. The South Easterwood. That's my guy. What's his name? Coach Bang. That's my guy Zane. That's my guy up there too. But now Mount Royal, and that's another thing. We Dante Green. We had. So many players, Keith Jennifer, Carmelo, nobody does anything. And a lot of stuff doesn't, not always on them, it's regulations as well. Recipes Elijah Cummings as well, but he had, not to talk bad, but he had a lot to do with Carmelo and the zoning as well. So sometimes people, artists or rappers or athletes want to help, or regular citizens, but the zoning and maybe the mayor or the delegate in that area can stop them from doing that.
So let's talk about this. You know a lot of politicians. You've dropped names right here on this show. Mm-hmm. Do you use your position to advocate to these elected officials? Hey, we need a new recreation center.
Be honest, I need to. And but politics, like I said, it's about guidance. So like I said,
I'm guiding you right now. You see a politician.
You need a 501c3. You need a nonprofit organization. Create that and develop a whole board of everybody that you know internationally. Put them on your board. Raise that money, and that cash is going to rule.
Or meanwhile, you can work with existing nonprofits in your neighborhood. You've got Upton Planning. Yeah, you've also got Druid Heights up the street. Yeah, but let me pull in the judge. Judge, DJ Duke is from our community, and easily he could have went to the left. We live in a community inundated with heroin, cocaine, and crack cocaine. And he said earlier, while he was impressed with that, he knew he had to go right, because otherwise he'd be dead or locked up. Yeah. Can you share with them some of your experience in dealing with our young men? We're trying to save lives,
right,
who are faced with that challenge all over the country, but including there in Michigan.
Yeah, when doing drug court, and you're dealing with a lot of people who are addicted, and a lot of them young. But the thing is that once they got clean, and once they began to start branching out in their life, even the veterans, when I formed the veteran group for, people that had addictions and whatnot, what I saw rise out of that were men who thought, hey, let me go start an organization, because everybody won't get this opportunity to be in front of a court like this that's going to help people. But then there are people that fall through the cracks, particularly veterans who had addictions, et cetera, and went off the rail. Okay, so they were lumped with everybody else. When you got ready to be locked up, you got lumped like everybody else. And he created an organization. This was several different guys did this, and it's still running today. I think it's been running now 7 or 8 years. And he formed, as Marsha was saying, a nonprofit. This was not something he had ever done before. And then he linked up with a lot of organizations that could support him and get him the resources that he could offer veterans who weren't in front of a veterans court judge, who could cut through the red tape. He used his organization to cut through red tape to help them, be it getting drug services, be it getting housing, be it getting training, etc. And he has me linked in, so I see what he's doing all the time. And I'm just proud of him, because, he went out there on a limb with an idea. And then he started, as Marsha was saying, you knock on those doors. You see, he formed a board. He put board members on there that could help him. He put board members on there that had thought like he thought, which was to help other people. And so I've got other mentors that came that weren't vets that came out that did the same thing. Okay, some of them went on to college to get into counseling, to get into the drug area, to help people that were like them. I even had transgender folks do the same thing because the bottom line is they needed to be clean and they couldn't go forward, but they knew in their population that they had people that were like them, but they could help. And so they formed organizations, they got the training, or even if you don't pick a college route or anything else, you form that board. You have obviously just a short amount of time I'm listening and expertise and that drive to help improve the lives of the people who are around you. In other words, you put on earth here to do something. You realize that. You know you have a purpose. I can tell just by listening to you for the few minutes I listened to you. You have a purpose. And you're looking to see how can that come to fruition. Because if in fact it does, it reaches out and helps so many people. So all those people that you named and organizations that you named, you grab people off of those organizations to become part of yours. And then once they become part of yours and you have these meetings, then you make decisions that make change. You know, that's my suggestion to you. You make decisions that make change. It's even as a judge, I knew that when I got ready to help with the prostitution problem, I had to have partners. I could not do it by myself. I had to bring in parts from the community. It was like all on a wheel. And here are the spokes of the wheel. The wheel is not going to turn unless, in fact, I got some air in that tire.
Absolutely.
So I got that from the community folks. I got their buy-in. And, you know, so when I said, hey, I need this for these ladies. They have been clean 3 months. I can't put them back in the community where they came from. I need you to develop housing for me. I went to the top man who had the power to do that. And he said, Judge Lloyd, I'll do it. I said, you wanted me to help. I'm helping. And now that I've got these women coming up to 90 days, I said, the way your rules are, you would be sending them back. I don't want to send them back.
Yeah.
They have to have a place to develop for at least the next 2 years. He created it. He created it, got the money. He got the money from the state and the city. And he created those apartments for those girls. Okay. So the bottom line is like, you've got those ideas. They obviously are really flowing in you. But like Marcia said, you form a board and those board members are you're going to put people on there that can help you. They have a power that can help you. There's something about this board member that brings something about this board member that brings something. And when you put an idea out there, you can look at those board members and say, hey, Joe, your organization, what can you do to help us? We got to get there. And then they have tentacles that reach out and they will pull in that resource that you need. Because you've got the idea. So
everybody brings something to the table. And every board member, you have a description of that board member, what that board member's capacity is, and you identify all those. And you got to develop the plan, make it plain, create a strategic plan, and whatever your action items need to be. And then you identify those people who have the resources in every area that you want to deal with. And the judge will also let you know if it makes sense, because what you're doing, you want to do an anti-legal kind of program. You don't want them having to go to a judge that's not going to be like Judge Lloyd. Judge Lloyd is on a whole nother level, right? We need more judges like her. No, that's real, Judge. I have a mad respect for you. Thank you. Because you're dealing with our babies, girl, and that's serious. And so when we sit down and talk about what judges that don't look like us or think like us, then we've got to create an infrastructure that's totally different, that's going to meet the needs of our community, the needs of these children. If if a child is sitting at home and they don't have no food in the house and they're hungry and they go rob something, they don't think about the fact that the child didn't have any food in the refrigerator. The child just robbed the place. And so, and stole food. They stole food. They stole food because we didn't do what we were supposed to do to make sure that they eat. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting what we are doing to our children. Right. So if you have the ability and you have the platform and you have the voice that people are listening to you, then you think as big as you can, baby. And you have the ability to find the people to help make all of that materialize. And you can do it across this nation and around the world because it needs to happen. And this woman sitting right here, this judge can tell you, all she need to do is just tell you what she's been looking at the last 5 cases today, and all going to support everything that I said.
But there's something else she can tell you, Duke. You ain't heard it all. Hey, Duke, put your gun in your holster. Judge, you know anything about the music industry?
Yeah. Yes. I was a practicing attorney for 10 years before I became a judge. And we decided to go into, my sister and I had a twin sister, and we decided to go into entertainment law. But the way we got into it wasn't a plan. And that's another thing. Sometimes what you think and what you gonna do ain't gonna be what the plan is that God has for you. So, but he gonna let you know the plan because it's gonna be smack right in your face. Okay, so but we were doing medical malpractice cases and stuff like that. And so, but a DJ who my sister represented when she was a law clerk for a black law firm, she helped him get out of trouble as a law clerk. And when he got out of trouble, he looked for us when he got a big offer for a contract with a big station. And we had just passed the bar. We were thinking about now we're going to set up our shingle. And but we had regular legal jobs. We still had regular legal jobs. And so he found my sister and said, I want you, he handed us this little letter. And it had a perfumed letter with contract terms on it. And he said, they want me, but I want you to handle this. And my sister said, I can do that, but we don't have an office yet, brick and mortar. Okay, we don't have that. But we can, he said, I don't care about brick and mortar. This was a different kind of artist. Now, he's a DJ, but he's really an artist. Okay. And so he said, I want you to do it because she got him out of trouble. His face was all over TV for something he hadn't done. Okay. So Leona said, fine, we went to work. These are 2 girls sitting in the kitchen typing out a contract. Okay, so you got the idea is there and you have to work with it. Okay, you work with, like, you got that idea of going forward with this plan and all the board and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is that as she listened to him, she started crafting the agreement. We would sit there at night, come back home from work, sit there at night, go over these different terms, talk to him, find something else he wanted that was eccentric, and we would stick it in there. And then she had more flexibility on her job, so she went to meet with him, 4 white lawyers, all, Ivy League. And Leona walks in at that time looking like a young Pam Grier with a briefcase, and she looks and they look at her, and they have the latest draft that she sent. And they said, well, we can have lunch and we can discuss the contract. My sister said, well, yeah, we can do that, but I have a new draft for you. She said, we talked to our client some more. He had some more ideas, and this is the new contract. Well, it was additional 6 pages. So they looked at that and said, well, maybe we just need to eat lunch first and then go to the contract. Absolutely. Yeah. Take her serious because she's serious. And this went on several times. Every time Leona went in, they would be ready to agree to the contract draft, the last one, and then the last one, and then Leona would hand them another one. And so, but the bottom line, because of him, we got flooded because we did the contract. We got the contract, unprecedented. He paid him even when he died. He was paid. But the bottom line was he attracted artists. And so the artist said, whoever got him that, we need to be going to them. We got flooded with tapes, and then Ebony Magazine put us in their magazine, and then we got them from everywhere. And he said, well, you know, he would pop by our office and he said, look, before you said you're deciding to pick one artist and get behind. And we said, yeah. And he said, because Motown was gone. And people are desperate here in Detroit. They're looking, they got talent. And so he said, well, let me, people come to me all the time. If I see somebody that's worth you spending your money on, I'm gonna let you know. We said, okay. Because he listened to the ones we had. He said, no. He's the one who broke Prince in Detroit. He's the one who broke the time and all those Minneapolis artists that came through. He heard the sound when no one else could hear it. So we really valued his ear. And then he called us one day and said, I got a group for y'all. This could be the next time. He said, they're a little rough, but they're going to call you. He said they want a contract. Yeah. And that was the thing. We wanted to negotiate a contract, but nobody had one. So our job was really to see if we could help get them one, which meant put them in the studio, a real studio. Put them in the studio, do all that stuff. And they came in. Bottom line, to make a long story short, and helping them find the name for themselves, etc., that wasn't taken, that was ready for the world. Now, I don't know if you remember them. Oh, Sheila was the song that everybody, was the big hit, did not Purple Rain Down. Okay. But the thing is that was a dream we had, and we worked on it to bring it to fruition. So when Donnie asked you, do I know about the entertainment business? Yeah, because when you have an artist that breaks all records, everybody comes to your door. We had vice presidents flying in to meet us. They didn't know who we were. Who are these two girls?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I know a little bit about it.
That's major. I remember Miss Marshall had said something about being passionate. Rest in peace to Vaughn Mason. I actually interviewed him actually a week before he passed. It was real tragic. Yes, we had some stuff lined up. It was a big honor to meet Vaughn Mason. But he told me what you just said: find passionate people and build with passionate people. So I just wanted to say that, like, you know, rest in peace to him. But so that is definitely true. What Ms. Marshall was saying, definitely.
It's serious.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Hey, Morocco.
Greetings, everyone. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
We're talking about the music industry and young people and how we need to be dealing with all this stuff. We've got host Joey. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Hey, what up, Joey? How you doing, Joey?
Great. We got a house full. This is wonderful.
I barely made it. I'm glad I got up in here.
Yeah, but we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
So, Morocco, what's happening down at ATL?
Well, everything is kind of progressing slowly now. Everybody's making contact to make it known that they've just received their second vaccine. So everybody, I think everybody in Atlanta's finally gotten squared away.
So let me bring you up to speed, Marcia. Judge, you had mentioned that you help veterans.
Yes.
Well, we have to introduce you before we get to Joey, Morocco Coleman, because he's our resident veteran. And
okay.
He testifies before Congress. He's a Vietnam War veteran. His first day in Vietnam was during the Tet offensive. And he's very passionate about helping veterans. Is that right, Morocco?
That's correct.
Excellent. Do you have a veteran stand down where you are?
We don't have stand downs now. I was involved in the first one they ever had here in Atlanta.
Close window.
It was stationed at
Stop listening.
Fort Gillum military base right outside of Atlanta. And the beautiful thing about it, this was back in the days of when stand downs were first catching the people's ear.
Right.
And so we advertised for about a month before, and we had buses that saturated the city to focal points to pick up veterans. Those veterans were picked up on these buses, homeless, broke down bridges, crack houses, wherever. If they got to one of these pickup points, they were transported to Fort Gillum. Once they got on the base, we ran them through. We worked it in conjunction with the. I worked for the Georgia Department of Labor Office of Veterans Programs. So along with the VA and other organizations, we run them through the computer to check the veteran status. Then we get them a haircut, shave, bath. Then they would give her military clothing like in basic training. And we had job opportunities, education, benefits, the whole gamut of what a stand down is.
Right.
And one of the great things about it was the word was put out that if you came and they ran you through the computer and found that you had a warrant, that you had some legal issues, if they weren't heinous crimes, then you had safe passage because it's a military reservation. Nobody could lock you up, nobody could take you. And it was very successful. So we've had about 3 of them, but they've kind of died out now.
Really?
Yeah.
That, you know, we have them here in Michigan. They came to me and they asked me, would I bring court to the stand down? It had never been done. And I said, yes, I'll bring it, which meant I really had to move my whole court to the stand down for 2 days.
Wow.
And you're right, they had all these other booths that from haircuts, massages, all kind of housing opportunities, tons of clothes, winterized clothes, boots, shoes, all kinds of things. They had a whole tent with nothing but clothes and bags of clothes. But they never had somebody do some legal baggage off of a veteran.
That's right.
These veterans were homeless. Okay, so when a veteran's homeless, they may get a ticket, they may get different things. They're not going to remember this. They don't have an address for you to get a notice to come to court. So it just lingers. It lingers, and they're afraid to come into a court building because they think they're going to get locked up. So the very first year I did it, the first thing they asked, are they going to lock us up? No. And they said no. And I explained when I went to talk to all the veterans, there's about 800 of them. And I said, I told them who I was, why I was there. And we had put the word out. So we had pulled all the tickets of veterans that said they were coming. But we found another 100 or so that heard about it and said, well, what about me? I didn't hear about this. We took their names down. I had a computer system. I had prosecutors there. I had defense attorneys there. You name it, I had it.
Wow.
And the mayor came to see what I was doing. And we were holding court. They designed that whole room for me based on what I said I needed. So it was like a miniature court. And some of the most grateful guys I've ever seen. And the prosecutors were working with me. We were dismissing cases right and left. And when I walked out the first day, because this one guy at the door said, hi, Judge, they didn't know what I was really there for the first time. But at the end of the day, he said, I heard so many men leave out of here talking about, I don't have these tickets, that ticket. He said, you were Santa Claus to these people today. Yeah. I said, well, I'll see you tomorrow because I'll be back. I did that for 4 years, okay? When I retired, they asked me to be on the board. I said, of course I would do it. The bottom line was I brought in the circuit court. I brought them in to help address felonies, to help address child support issues, to get them free legal assistance. And they knew if we get Judge Lloyd on this board, that was one of the most wonderful things I think I've ever done on the bench, even though I did drug court, even though I did all these other things, and I had a veterans court, etc. This was different. And just, they may only be in front of me one day, but you can change a life in one day.
Yeah.
When I got through dismissing tons of different stuff, people got their licenses back. People were able to get jobs because now they could get and drive to a job. People then were able to get housing because now they had a job. So it was a chain reaction. About a year or two later, when I went to a dinner to speak to veterans, and this man walked up and he had these flowers for me, and he said, "You may not remember me, but you changed my life." He said, "When you dismissed all those cases, now I have a job, I have a house, I moved my family." He said, "I have stability." So the stand down was crucial. When I became a board member, we then focused on a unit that will also help women vets because they seem to be lost in the equation. So the last one we did, it was focused on women vets. We had on pink t-shirts, camouflage t-shirts. We had on, they got their eyelashes done, their nails done, their hair done. They had all of that for them to make them feel a part. And with the housing units, and even one of my vets in the stand down that I was telling the young man about how he got aboard and all that, how he started, he had a booth. He was signing up vets to make sure vets can get the help that they need because they know other vets that don't have help. So I really respect veterans to the utmost. I've seen firsthand in court when they come in there, they have went into the service one way. And even before they finish basic training, they go through such a process that it has changed them. And then they continue going on. And when they come back, some of them, like one man told me, he said, "Judge," he had very bad cocaine habit. He said, "I got it in Vietnam." He said, "If I had not gone over there, I'd be a doctor right now." He said, "I'm just that smart." And he was extremely intelligent. And when I talked to him, he was like, I said, "Well, you keep testing positive." I was getting upset. And I said, "This test, don't lie. Tell me what happened." And he said, "I'm not going to lie to you because I respect you." He said, "And I can do this 90 days on standing on top of my head. That's okay to me." He said, "But I respect you, so I'm telling you the truth." He wanted help. And I signed him up with a unit that was far away, that was veteran related. So he got on a waiting list. But he told me that the other treatment centers that he was going to did not address the problem that vets needed. Right. And so, but he agreed not to use anything. He didn't use anything. I tested 3 times a week, so you couldn't escape me. You couldn't escape me. And he went away for a couple months, something like that, 2 or 3 months. And he came back with this huge binder. And he said, "I got what I needed." He never tested positive again. He even told the place that he was at how they can run their place. He was designing a better treatment center. He was brilliant. He was brilliant, just like he said, okay? And there were so many vets. When he graduated my program, 2 years later, he popped up in my courtroom and he had a cane. And he was telling me what had happened to his leg. But I said, "Well, what are you back here for?" He said, "I want to help you get reelected." He said, "I see your name is up." And I looked at him, I smiled, and I said, "That's very sweet of you, but I don't have nobody running against me." I said, "But I have literature out. I have literature to post. Well, I want to pass it out. We need more people like you, and we can't lose you. So I came back to help you. I'm going to have my chair out there, and I'm going to be passing out your literature." I said, "Fine." But the bottom line is that I wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats, and the veterans was one of them. And it really touched me when I did the stand down. The stand down. Go ahead, Donnie.
Here's another hat for you, not to interrupt you. We have Joey joining us. Now, Duke, I told you Duke, what you doing? Duke. Okay.
You don't like me to move my
ain't cut your face off.
Yeah,
Can't see your face, Duke. There you go. So we have Duke, who's in the music. We have Darius G, who's in the music, but we also have Joey, who's in the music. And Joey, what did you tell me about the judge when you saw the interview?
When we spoke, I
Stop
told her
playing, Joey.
I told you I was surprised that she was actually involved with the group that knocked Prince off, Purple Rain. That Sheila. 'Cause my mom name is Sheila, so I watched it live. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, this song I've been singing forever. And my mama played since forever. This woman has been a part of that song, not only the song but knocked Prince off. So that was I was smiling ear to ear when I watched the interview. To actually meet the person who had something to do with that song, that was real cool.
Now,
Thank you.
Joey,
Right.
you can't move at all. You
I'm paralyzed from the neck down. I'm a C4 quadriplegic.
but you have businesses. You started businesses since your accident.
Yes, sir. T-shirt businesses, music. I got domain names on top of domain names on top of domain names. I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's what I do. This T-shirt I'm wearing is mine. The music I played for you guys the other day, that's mine. I do everything that you see. I create the designs. I make the music. I record it right here in this room with my voice, no, or without the function of my hands. I mix it, I record it, I write it. Only thing I don't do is produce the beats. I really don't like making beats. I know how to do it. I just don't want to spend as much time making beats. I rather spend time writing the music and recording the music. The designs that you see, if you go to modestislandmusic.com, I made that website. I make all my websites. I make all my images. I go to Canva. I'm not a graphic designer, but I do got an eye for a nice aesthetic. All of my Facebook pages, I do it all. I'm a one-man band, like you say. I wear many hats, and I do it all without function on my hands. I just use my voice. As Mr. Dunn said, there ain't no excuses. If you're breathing, you should be working. So I'm getting busy. Get busy living or get busy dying, like Shawshank Redemption.
Right. Right. Well, that's really amazing because those things that you just named, were you doing any of those things prior to your accident?
Yeah, I was actually I went to school for biomedical engineering. I came back home from my friend's baby shower and got in an accident. I was actually on my way back to the studio when we got in the accident. So I got videos on YouTube right now of me before the accident. But I will say it wasn't as like AY Asher, the shirt that I'm wearing. I started the little brand maybe 2012. My accident was in 2013. So I started this, as um, just kids making music, making T-shirts. We're living in an entrepreneurial age where it's easy to get a website, it's easy to get a Facebook page, and you want to be a businessman. Everybody want to be the next Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg. So it just started as a group thing. But what I can say, the accident, it I'm glad I started it before the accident because after the accident, as I stated on the previous show, I was out. I was done. I was checked out. Um, and when someone finally gave me a kick in the butt, I had something to do. I didn't have
Right.
to look for my passion. I didn't have to reinvent myself. I didn't have to find myself. I was already in here. I'm still in here somewhere.
Right.
I'm finding them a little bit more every day. I'm still in here, but I had something to do, and that's why I have ideas on top of ideas on top of ideas. I'm just pacing myself to I read a book, The One Thing, and I'm kind of sticking to the one thing, except I'm doing three things, and I'm trying to. Then I'll go to the next three things, and then the next three things.
That's remarkable because sometimes when we go through something like you did, and you feel it at first it's like a setback. but then you begin to discover things that you have in you that you didn't really know you had in you. It's like life is pushing you now to discover things that you're using that you might not have reached out to even use. And you're multi-talented. That's very obvious. Okay, you're multi-talented. But it seems like the strength and the courage to keep going on rose up in you.
Mhm.
And whether you call it the kick in the butt or whatever, it rose up. And you obviously are a fighter. You're a fighter and you are accomplishing these things. This is not something that has hampered you in terms of not being able to do something. You have found a creative way to do it and get your voice out there. And that is remarkable and creative because just like, when I was talking to DJ Duke about the board and creating a board and all of that, you had to see what you wanted to do. I believe everybody's designed for greatness, period. And I believe that when things happen, like the death of my sister, that was devastating for me.
Yeah.
But you have to you take a few steps back and say, why? Why did this happen? I was devastated. And I couldn't go to work for 3 months. I was devastated. And I said, I know I'm gonna get this answer. I just don't know what it's gonna be. And I had to redefine who I was too, because me and her were like this. And we everything we did together because we had similar tastes. So we had monikers, Twins for Justice, Lloyd and Lloyd, you name it, we were known as it. And if we walked into a church, the minister would stop talking and say, the Twins for Justice just walked in. And I'm like, I want to sit down quiet. But the bottom line was, now I had no one to walk with me. That person was gone. That person that we sometimes we go to work together. She just lived down the street from me. And sometimes I say, hey, you want to ride with me this morning, or vice versa. And then sometimes we just meet up at, we didn't have a pattern. But when you got used to, we'd be in the car singing, because we got that music thing, as Donnie mentioned, we got that music thing, we've had it all our life. We singing Bootylicious with, and so by the time we get there with our ropes on, I'm in a great mood. I have gold records on the wall from Ready for the World. I'm the rock and roll judge. So there was no one to ride with me. There was nobody in that seat next to me. Her office was right next door. We demanded to have our offices next door. Her courtroom was next door to mine. I can't go over there anymore because she's not there. So I had to deal with all this. I had all kind of therapy. I had to deal with all this and redefine who I was. And he sent that answer because after a few months of coming back, they said, will you do drug court? And I said, that was something Leonia and I had wanted to do in the first place, but they picked another judge to do it. So I said, yeah. But if I come do it, I have to do it my way. I can't do it the way you all are. You got 30 folks in drug court. We got over 500,000 people to come through this door, and over 80% of the crimes are drug-based. So 30 people is a joke. They said, we're going to let you do whatever you want. And I came and I restructured the program and I added parts to the program and I branched it out. But the bottom line was he gave me my answer.
Look,
I'm so trying to help somebody not slash their wrist again, making sure that they want to live. And understand. I didn't hear you, Donnie.
Judge, there's one more piece I want to slide in here. There's Darius. Darius, you're muted.
I see him.
Darius, you know anything about the court system?
I'm very familiar with it. Unfortunately, I'm very familiar with it.
Did you know?
Have you learned anything, Darius?
Have I learned anything? I learned a lot. I learned how to write post convictions, write appeals, because there's a lot of brothers that are in there that are innocent, that are victims, that have got railroaded because they didn't have no type of funds to represent them in court. And they taught me how to write appeals to get themselves out in the legal process. And when I learned how to write appeals, habeas corpus, and the motions and all types of things like that, it helped me as far as script writing, which helped me knock out 3 scripts. And it just was a blessing to be able to learn how to write instead of just not doing anything with my time that I was in there at a young age.
Well,
and I have been rehabilitated and opened up a successful business called Embassy Moving.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kavette, I don't want to leave you out. Being the mother of 2 young men, I gotta ask you as we wind down, did you learn anything today?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen here these gentlemen, you know, with the different initiatives that they're taking, even though we face the challenges, or our young men, our Black men face many challenges, they can make a choice to turn in the other direction. And they have examples in front of them. They just have to find them, you know, and then those who are doing good, reach back, you know, because our young men who don't have any guidance, who don't have, you know, moms and dads who are caring for them the way that they should be, need someone else outside of their family, need someone who can be an example for them to model.
MOROCCO, you learn anything? Thank you for taking time out. We know you're busy selling that old famous book of yours. Where's your book at?
It was great talking with the judge to learn about the activities up in the Detroit area. Judge, I'm also one of the mentors with the Veterans Court, and I'm on the Congressional Black Caucus Veterans Brain Trust in DC, where I chair a board, the Veterans Board. So I took our local judge here in Atlanta and all of the staff to the Black Caucus 3 years ago, and the whole court received a congressional award for the efforts with the Veterans Courts. So the Veterans Courts is catching the, if you will, the parents of the young ones, and like you, Judge, I wrote a book, Coming Full Circle, and ironically enough, I retired as the director for the state of Georgia for the Office of Veterans Programs, but I was every veteran that sits down at my desk that had been through the homelessness, the drugs, the alcohol, my girl gone, PTSD, the whole 9 yards. So little did I know that was make me an expert if I ever got to work in that particular field. So I'm sure, like you found, it's very rewarding. And like the guy that brought you the flowers and many other incidences like that, you get a chance sometimes to see where it comes back around, and you get ready from a spiritual standpoint to see where the Creator is still using you to change and make a difference in the lives of others.
That's very,
DJ Duke, I'm sorry, Duke, did you learn anything today? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I learned one key thing, the word passion. You got people that's passionate around you, not so much what they've done, things like that, just the passion. Just hearing the judge talk, the Marshall talk, everybody just passionate. And then with Joey's story, it's inspirational. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you have the passion for something, you can do anything. Simple.
Do you think you can help Joey with his beats?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I'll send you each other's contact information. Darius, any news stories we got to cover before we wind up?
Yeah, I noticed yesterday, one of the past advisors for Bill Clinton, African-American brother by the name of Vernon Jordan, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He passed away yesterday at the age of 85. It's just
bad brother. Bad brother.
Yeah, Vernon was from Atlanta.
Yeah, he helped push Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton wouldn't be made some of the decisions that he did if it wasn't for him in his ear.
Mhm.
It's just the same loss. That's all.
Donnie, the one he's talking about, Vernon Jordan, my grandfather was the actual chauffeur that drove Miss Daisy here in Atlanta. So Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones, James Earl played my grandfather on Broadway. Morgan Freeman played him in the movie. Vernon Jordan's father was also a chauffeur. And you see the heights that Vernon rose to.
And look at you and the heights that you've risen to.
Thank you. Hey, Quebec, I didn't get a chance to speak to you earlier.
Hey, Morocco. It's Mr. Coleman. It's nice to see you as well.
Morocco, please, Morocco.
So, Marsha, this is our presentation today. You're pleased?
I think that this was a wonderful show, and I'm appreciative of our guests. You know, people need real information, authentic information from authentic people. And it's an honor for me to be here with you all. So thank you. Thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for joining us.
Guys, you wanted to say something? I know you have a show you need to plug.
Yeah, the Urban Spotlight. Urban Spotlight Friday night, 7 to 8. Urban Spotlight, sports, mixed martial arts, any type of African American news, I'm on it. I'm putting the spotlight right on it. Businesses, everything.
And Quebec, you want to plug your show?
I host Mindful Money Moments on Mondays at 7 p.m. here on BlackUSA.News. And so join me every Monday. And we'll be talking about mindfulness and money, how our emotions affect our money management.
Okay, well, Rob, any plugs you want to do before we bounce?
Well, my email address is Morocco, like the country in Africa, MOROCCO @bellsouth.net. Any veterans or families of veterans or widows of veterans, if you have any problems with your benefits with VA or any problems with VA or any issues with veterans benefits, anything in the 360 degrees that touches veterans, contact me. I'll do whatever I can to help you. I don't charge anything. And
you only help people in Southwest Atlanta where you live at?
No, I get calls from all over the country and sometimes out of the country. It's kind of word of mouth, like the judge. You know, people have heard about me and they tell others. I've been retired 21 years. I might get 3 or 4 phone calls a day from somewhere. But on that board with the Black Caucus, I've been able to knock on doors every year since 1992 when I'm there in Congress. And I meet all of the congressmen and senators, and I tell them, like, here's my card. This is who I am. I need 5 minutes. One day I might call you in Detroit. I might call you in Ohio, and I need help with a veteran or that veteran's family. I don't want the glory. I just want your assistance, all the help I can get, and I'll let the world know that you were the one that made it happen, the one that did it. So that's benefited me greatly. And then I went back and I got my paralegal because I was getting knee deep in so many legal issues. That's what led me to the Veterans Court and led me to John Marshall Law School, so that I'd have a little more power to assist these veterans.
Marsha, be patient with me. Morocco, you gotta tell her what you did for the veterans when you was in Vietnam.
After I got out of the jungle after 6 months, only because I could type, they made me the legal clerk. So once I got into the legal, I found out a company of 600 men, half of that 600 was poor, was Hispanic and Black. Half of that was up for court martials, 212s, Article 15s, all kind of bad paper. And there were races that had set them up. So they had to put me under secret clearance in order for me to do the work. Well, I was the only one because the previous commanders had gone on and the previous legal people had gone on. So I was the only one that knew the ins and outs of the cases. So I found that a lot of veterans had been set up. And when I did my research and found that to be true, I made it disappear. And so they would come to me and say, listen, I had a court martial. I got set up that time. I haven't heard anything. I said, well, it mysteriously disappeared. But if I ever hear that this conversation took place. I said they will, mysteriously reappear, and your case will go forward. Nobody ever told. But
praise the Lord.
I can't
believe you told us
so racism. So what I did was I wrote a letter to John Johnson at Ebony Magazine and told about the racism and a lot of discrimination that was going on. Little did I know that Johnson was coming out with an Ebony that year. It was 2 Ebonies in the first time in 1968, dedicated to the black soldier in Vietnam. And when I signed the letter, I started not to sign the letter. I said, well, if I'm bold enough to say these things, I'm bold enough to sign it. So I sent it. A lady that was working with the Panthers sent me a letter in Vietnam and said, right on, brother, this is what we need, more guys like you to speak out. I looked at the paperwork and I said, man, I told where I was, name, rank, serial number, everything. So I ended up getting a court-martial with a conglomeration of other things. I saw a glitch in the beginning of the court-martial, the 2-day court-martial, and I was able to, I was found guilty, but I was able to prove it was a kangaroo court, so they had to throw it out. But John Johnson was the one that helped me, and John Johnson was the one that hurt me, but they also helped me in the end because I sent the letter to him and told him after the first day of the trial, if I'm not heard from in 3 days after this trial, I want a congressional investigating committee to look at me, what happened to me, etc., and some others. So that was when I showed you.
We're glad nothing happened to you. And Judge, thank you for taking time out to meet Joey, DJ Duke, Darius, Marsha. You got the final word.
Me?
Marsha Juice, come on, you muted.
Marsha.
Oh, muted. I guess my final word for the day is to just believe in yourself and see yourself being whatever it is that you want to be in a positive manner. If you see somebody who needs your help, help them. Too often we're inside of ourselves and we're about ourselves opposed to helping others, be it in word or deed or just a smile on your face. Take that time because you don't know what people are going through. And this is a very difficult time for many of us. And we just have to continue to walk in love. We have to walk in love. We have to care. We have to care about our communities. We have to care about our children. And we have to take the time to help our neighbors. And that is all I have to say. Take the time to just be and walk in love.
I love you all. Thank you all for joining us this morning. The top of the day to you all.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
All right, see you later.
Good deal. And everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother and sister's keeper. Good morning.
Amen. Good morning.
See you later, Joey.
Good morning,
All
everybody.
righty.
Bye-bye.